Okay, hang on a second. Is it like full-blown hot tub stream? This I might have to check out. Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Monday. I am I'm a little disturbed to check in there and see if it's actually like real hot tub stream. Hang on a second. Let me pull this up here and take a look. You've perked my curiosity here. Who's in the hot? Wait. Hang on a second. Yeah, he is in a hot tub. Who the hell is that with him? Oh, he's just got 2 camera angles. Okay. Wow, that picture is fuzzy as hell. You don't want to know? Well, unfortunately, we do now. So, okay, the funny thing about Smash, this is not me crapping on him. He's not exactly the kind of guy you want to see in the hot tub. I say that with as much love as possible. I mean, personally, I'm not in the best shape of my life either, so I don't want to see myself in the hot tub either. You only see his head. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. That's, all right. Hey, you know what? Smash deserves all the kudos and the success he has had, so big shout out to Smash. He hit 100,000 subscribers today on his wife's birthday, no less. They were having a birthday party, and he was able to watch it happen in real time. So massive, massive kudos to this dude, especially given that he is, he's taken the ire, he's taken all the heat from Alyssa Mercante. Personally, like, I don't know how he does it. So if I was gonna be legally pursued by somebody like Alyssa Mercante, given what an insane, like, psychopath she really is, I don't know how I would deal with it. Like, would I take it seriously? Would I freak out? Would I have a panic attack? Would I try to countersue? I don't even know. Now, I know that personally, I am as squeaky clean as it could get. Like, there's nothing I've ever said that she could sue me for. Still trying to get an idea on the guy? Well, you know, he either is for you or he's not. Be the type of guy to go to his parties. I don't know about that. Hey, NS, the Burger Man indeed. It is going. I've got my little cat trying to climb into the Christmas presents right now. What is going on? No. I hit face cam. We were already here. So this little girl just discovered that we are wrapping up all the Christmas presents, and she's trying to climb into them right now. Yes, she is. Ivy, those are not for you, honey. She's so pissed off. You can't see, but her tail is just like swishing back and forth. Tucker, no. Yeah, I gotta move this. Hang on. So the kids finally started wrapping their presents, and all of a sudden now the cats are trying to like converge on the boxes and the wrapping paper and all that. I mean, I'm not much of a party goer anyways. Oh, Susanna, are you talking about Legal Vices? Yeah, I saw that earlier. Unfortunately, it really sucks. How old is Siri in the new game? Hey, Deadhouse over on Rumble. If she's like 40, she looks about right. Yeah, I mean, it's not so much the age, it's the way that they modeled the face. And I've gone out of my way to say, I don't think if you look at this face... Damn it, Forbes, can we actually zoom in here? Hang on a second. Let's bring this back up. If you just look at the face, I don't think she's ugly, okay? She's not as pretty as Siri was in the previous game, so there's no doubt about it. Like, in terms of actual beauty, this ain't it. Definitely the cheeks are a little puffy, the shape of the face is different, lips are a different shape. Yeah, even the nose, I think, might be a little bit different. But again, this is also a cutscene, right? So it's really hard to tell cutscene versus in-game graphics. And I think the one on the left is actual in-game graphics rather than a hyper photorealistic cutscene, you know? Let me see here. Yeah. So, I mean, my thing about JT is I don't have any negative feeling about him. He either rubs you the wrong way or he doesn't. So that's, all I can say about that. There are people who probably think he's a grifter or this and that, but everybody gets called a grifter at some point. I've been called a grifter multiple times, and never once have I shared an opinion that I don't honestly believe, which is the very definition of a grifter, is lying for money. So the term gets thrown around way the hell too often. Living the life that Kante wishes she could. Now, I will say this about Smash. I don't think he looks any worse than she does topless. Unfortunately, somebody a while back on my Twitter feed, I cannot remember who, was sharing around some old pictures of her, and I wanted to gouge my eyes out afterwards. It was not a pretty picture. But yes, Smash, he's got the wife, kids. He's doing what he actually enjoys. I don't know if she enjoys a thing that she actually does. I don't know. Yeah, so Susano, it's really funny because I never played the DLC for Witcher 3. I completed the game. I pretty much did every side quest possible. I never did the DLC. So in terms of the DLC, the actual ending that I guess you get in the DLC explains that, Geralt retires, essentially. He's got his vineyard. That doesn't mean that he's just going to, wither off and die. Look, he's a Witcher. How much can you actually retire, right? At some point, you're going to get dragged back into the shit. But that being said, it was okay to have a send-off for him if they were going to continue with Ciri on a different type of game. So we can basically take a summary glance at this article from Eric Kane over at Forbes, because he kind of highlights the main issues with it, right? Most average men look decent in their age. Yeah, well, I will say, Alyssa, time is not doing her any favors at all. And far be it for me to go after somebody else for their appearance, but for somebody who thinks that she's all that in a bag of Doritos, she's really not. So, Eric writes that he was surprised to see The Witcher 4 open this year's Game Awards. I wasn't. We all knew this game was coming. Says he had some mixed feelings about several aspects of the trailer and the implications of Ciri as the next game's protagonist. She will be the protagonist of the next 3 games, starring in her very own trailer. See, I didn't realize it was going to be 3 more games. I guess that was from the interview with IGN or whatever. You look 18 and you're 20. Well, Natsuno, when you're young, pre-30, looking 2 years younger or older than your actual age is not a big deal. It's when you turn, 30, 35, or close to 40, that's when it starts to hit home, whether or not you actually look your age or not. I didn't realize that it was going to be a trilogy. I was not aware of that. I mean, it makes sense. If everything's better in 3, and you're going to have her be the star of her own series, and, you want to have it go on for a series of years, that's cool. I'm totally cool with that. That makes, total sense to me. What doesn't make sense is the fact that they're being, is that they're calling her a Witcher. And it's not just calling her a Witcher, okay? We'll get into the rest of it in a minute. He says there's the bizarre new look for her character. And the funny thing about Eric Kane, he is a very woke guy, but he doesn't like all the wokeness. So he's very left-leaning liberal, but he's like, some of this stuff is just over the top. There's another article from him we're going to cover about Intergalactic. So him pointing this out, he has people in his mentions on Twitter calling him a right-wing incel. And he's this 45-year-old liberal left-wing dude getting called an incel right-wing Nazi by his own audience. It's absolutely insane. These people are completely nuts, right? Right. The issue is that women can't be a Witcher due to the lore. That's the biggest problem. And I 100% feel the same way, dude. Why is it called The Witcher 4? Was supposed to be something else. They could have come up with a really cool name for it. They could, and we'll get into that in a minute. There are so many different things they could have done with the character. Instead of dumbing her down and watering her down to be a Witcher, which is okay, look at the Witcher storyline. Even if you're just basing it off of the games or even the show, which was a very loose adaptation of the books, nobody wants to be around Witchers. Nobody likes Witchers. Nobody respects Witchers. They're mutants. They're freaks. They're outsiders. So why would you want to, if you're this all-powerful being that can jump through time and space, why would you want to lower yourself down to becoming a Witcher? Somebody who's being an outcast from society, right? That doesn't make any sense. especially when you have the skill set that she has. Now, obviously, her powers are unpredictable, and I do believe she loses them at some point in one of the endings on the game. I could be wrong about that. But why would you not try to focus on that aspect of her character rather than just making her a female version of Geralt, which is essentially what we're getting here? And a lot of people, included with Eric Kane here, point out in this article, a lot of us would rather play an RPG where you can create your own Witcher. And think about how badass that would be. Honestly, I was fine playing Geralt. I like the character. It's a fun character. But imagine how great it would be if you could just, from the bottom up, create your own Witcher and, you know, pick certain aspects of your character that you want to, like, you know, improve on and excel at. Again, you could go with rangers, warriors, that kind of stuff, you know. She's more powerful. She doesn't need to be one. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my thought process is, I get it. You want to continue the franchise, the IP. It has a lot of notoriety. It's a big name recognition title, right? Even though there's a lot of people who crap all over Witcher 3, given the fact that the combat is so stiff, the movement is so bad. And I remembered this from when I played through The Witcher on my Xbox, and I'm playing through it now on PC. And yeah, I tried playing with the mouse and keyboard the other night. That was terrible. I switched to controller, and it was better, but it was still rough. It was still really rough. And I remember the game is very janky in terms of combat and movement, you know? Set through all the public talks they did on the game, none of them really said jack about the story. Well, they have now. Now they've said she's a full-blown Witcher and she's gone through the trial of the grasses. So that's the thing. It's like, now you're going to say after the age of 21, when she's already a female and she's an adult, when the mutations wouldn't be as effective or more likely kill her outright. It's just insane. It's like being a Grey Warden with a limited lifespan and then saying, I want to be a Witcher that could kill you. Yeah. It's insane. Let me see here. So she just doesn't look at all like Ciri from The Witcher 3. It's not just that she's older. Her entire bone structure has changed. Her face looks different. Her voice has changed far more than mere aging would dictate. Well, that's because they've replaced the voice actress. Well, so while I think she still looks fine and sounds fine, it's a radical and jarring enough transformation that I didn't have the scar to go by. I wouldn't know she was the same character at all. And that's very true. There's no way you would know. Mouse and keyboard wasn't terrible, the gamer playing it. Honestly, dude, I had a decent enough time playing it on mouse and keyboard. It was simply some of the combat itself. The movement on mouse and keyboard's fine. They could have done it so many other ways. I know. Honestly, they just took the easy way out. It's just the fact that they wanted the brand recognition, the name recognition. They wanted to be able to say, we are moving forward with Ciri as the new Witcher, and it's a female, and it's great because strong, independent women. Think about how CD Projekt Red is now. With all the diversity and inclusion initiatives, their mentorship program that's female only, they want to go this direction moving forward. It's plain and simple. There's no other reason but the fact that this is the direction that they are going as a company, which we've seen time and time again, unfortunately. So it says, this brings up perhaps an even more important issue. Should Ciri even be the main playable character in a series about Witchers? And I think this is, again, a thing that a lot of us have felt like the entire way through. Sure, if you want to have Ciri be the main character of her own series, a spin-off from The Witcher, that's fine. It makes total sense. I mean, she's a obvious, next step in the evolution of the series. And a lot of people are even arguing, I can't testify to this because I didn't read the books, but a lot of people who have read the books have said, she's essentially the main character of the books. Now, I think that's kind of heavy-handed because, like, look, it's called The Witcher, and Geralt is the strongest Witcher to ever live. So saying a book called The Witcher revolves around her is kind of asinine. But the way I've seen it explained is that she is like the glue that holds everything together, right? The story centers around her, but it's told through Geralt's perspective. So that being said, sure, you could take the next step by moving on to Ciri, but still calling it The Witcher is Geralt. So even if you want to make the argument that she can be a Witcher, The Witcher specifically is talking about Geralt. So it is very strange. Yeah, never sell your IPs, 100%. Deadhouse, you would rather start afresh with a brand new character? I honestly, yes. I would have rather had them make it where you could create your own character. That would be so much fun. That would be incredibly badass. Think about it. Like imagine Elden Ring, but with the Witcher's aesthetic and world and monsters. Because Half what I loved about Witcher 3 was the specific type of monsters, the demons. A lot of the side quests were super cool. And of course, the Wild Hunt was pretty awesome. So if you could have done that, but like on a level with Elden Ring with the customization options, that would have been insane, right? Because I guess Natsuno, she doesn't have her powers anymore. That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. It's like, apparently, you know, and it's been a long-ass time since I played the game. But I guess in the process of the end of the game, she either loses the ability to use her powers or stops using them. I don't know. She's not a Witcher in the books, though, at least not that you're aware of. So, right, she never becomes a Witcher. So, something that I've seen people make the argument about, and we'll get into this in a second, too, is about the whole school thing. But basically, here's where we are. This is where we're at with this, okay? Should Ciri be the main playable character? There's much debate over whether she is or isn't an actual Witcher, for one thing. Following the release of the trailer, CDPR confirmed that in this version of the story, she has taken the Trial of Grasses, which, again, you're supposed to take as a young boy, ages like 10 to 12, before puberty and all your genetic changes set in, right? I don't know. You'll have to get somebody, Natsuno, that knows the canon as far as like the actual progression of the story, because I don't know. I have no idea. Like, that the Witcher series have been on, the books have been on my shopping list for a long time. Eventually I'll order those and get a hold of them and read them. It's funny because Razorfist hates The Witcher because he's a big Elric fan, and apparently Elric is the original story that inspired the guy who wrote The Witcher. So essentially The Witcher is like a second-rate ripoff according to Razorfist. I don't know. Sometimes he's a little harsh on his opinions of other like mediums and entertainment and all that, but I guess The Witcher is just a spin-off from Elric. And there are similarities, the white hair and a lot of the personality. That being said, it says following the release of the trailer, they confirmed it, giving her the mutations necessary to drink potions, which was one of my biggest questions from the trailer is, how the hell is she drinking potions and surviving? It's possible she went to a different school than Geralt, such as the School of the Lynx. Now, this is something I want to jump ahead a little bit. There was another guy on Twitter. This dude here, Synth Potato. Ciri officially confirmed as part of the Lynx Witcher School in Witcher 4. This is an entirely new Witcher school that we haven't seen before in the books or games. It is either founded by Ciri or it is more likely an ancient Witcher school that's been in hiding the whole time. Whoever these guys are, whether they are new or just an ancient school, unearthed remains to be seen. How they convince Ciri to undergo the Trial of Grasses will definitely be a huge story point, too. So, you can see right here that this is officially the Lynx School, and it's one that was created for the game. I questioned it and said, yeah, guys, this game's cooked, and this guy, Synth Potato, responded, and he's like, don't you realize that they also made up the School of the Viper for the games as well? I'm like, okay, so basically what we're saying is canon doesn't matter at all. So you go, well, they created the Viper School in the game, so why can't we just make up any school we want now? It's like, okay, basically to some of these people, canon doesn't mean anything at all. Not really part of their fan base, just a game, preferred the show at first. Season 1 was good. Parts of Season 1 were really good. Parts of Season 2 were good. Unfortunately for me, it's just not been one that I've gotten around to reading yet. Hey, Tekla, don't go too deep. It's a retcon. It's a full-blown retcon. It's insane how much of a retcon it really is, it seems. So, yeah. Lynx School, apparently. I'm going to say it's one that she formed because now she's probably going to have multiple female Witchers in her school. Just watch and see. It's going to be multiple female Witchers. He says, frankly, I'm okay with Ciri having somehow become a full-blown Witcher, even if it breaks lore, because I can accept the games are and always have been different from the books. Now, okay, I can accept that too, but here's my issue. If you jump ahead to Permaband, they have this screenshot from Bounding into Comics where it says the Witcher4 dev team says that Ciri's story will not break any canon or even offend canon. So on one hand, you have them where they already made up, I guess, the Viper School for Witcher 3, okay, or the Witcher game series. So they already broke canon there. Then you have them saying, we're not going to break canon at all. But she is now a full-blown Witcher. She took the trial of the grasses. She has the mutations, now the mutagen's in her. Oh, and by the way, you know, yeah, she's the first female Witcher when Witchers aren't female. It's absolutely insane. There's no elder blood, it's just her blood. They didn't use term genetics. See, that's the thing. It's like I don't understand how they're going about thinking about that, right? So they do a lot with the alchemy and stuff. But yeah, they didn't have the capability, obviously, due to the setting of the world that they're in, to like look at things under a microscope and slides and stuff and experiment with like genome theory and viruses and all sorts of stuff. Oh, you bet. Yeah, there'll be a non-binary Witcher, or we'll probably see one of those bald-ass women like from Intergalactic over from Naughty Dog. I guarantee it. Would not surprise me one bit. So, let me see here. Where's the rest of this at here? He says, but what does this mean for Ciri's own magical powers? She has the elder blood in her, which is one reason she couldn't take the trials. The other being she's a woman and Witchers are always men. I'm confused about that. He says that the reason she couldn't take the trials is because she had elder blood. Has she lost her powers? The trailer indicates that she has at least some of them, but this also shows us a huge downgrade from where she was at the end of Witcher 3. A game where she passes through time and space would have been cool, but it wouldn't really be a game about monster hunting mutant Witcher either. Well, that's not true. Okay, so here's one way you could look at it. Okay, so being a Witcher, first and foremost, is about hunting monsters, right? So she's already operated as a Witcher, even in Witcher 3 where she's not one. So if she's just, you know, if you just take the term Witcher and apply that as I'm a monster hunter, okay, so she's a non-genetic Witcher monster hunter, but she works as a Witcher because she has the ability, the skills, the training, and she has her powers going for her. That would have been a better idea. You then take that and spin it off where she travels through time and space, because remember, the where the worlds ended up colliding essentially and the monsters came through into their world, what if you have her like teleport and time jump to different places and times where there's other worlds full of monsters and she has to survive there using her skills, but not as a Witcher being paid to hunt monsters, literally using her new power or her full-blown powers to survive a world full of monsters, right? Something different. Yeah, it does kind of stem from the idea that you have to have women and men on the same footing. It said that no girls. So what I have seen people post screen caps from the books is that no girls, no females had ever survived the trials, and that with boys it was like 6 out of 10 would die. So it was like a 30-40% survival rate. Yeah. So genetically, when it comes to the actual trials, women never survived. They didn't pass the trials. They did not become actual mutated Witchers. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But there's a lot of people online that are having like complete meltdowns about it. It's absolutely insane. Deadhouse on Rumble says she's going to the school of the pangolin. You know what's funny? Before COVID, before 2020, I didn't even know what the hell a pangolin was. I thought that they were mispronouncing something, and then I look at this strange animal, and correct me if I'm wrong, a pangolin kind of looks like an aardvark or something, right? It's this weird, like armadillo-looking animal or something. It's a very strange animal. Check your comment about female Witchers. It might have deleted it, dude. Yeah, dude, I think YouTube deleted it. Let me see. Let me scroll back up here in Streamlabs and see if I can see it. Unless you're talking about the one that you just posted where you said the books explicitly mention the trials need to be complete. It would be too strenuous for a female body, hence there's no female Witchers. Well, the thing is, people do care about lore, but the first thing that detractors will say, the people who are like, oh, lore is stupid, you're just a incel bigot fanboy who can't stand women or people of color, that's the first thing they do when you start talking about lore. If you're a lore fanatic or a lore like loyalist or a fan where you don't want them to change lore, you just want them to make a good story, that's the first time that they'll call you a bigot. So if you say, well, it breaks canon. YouTube ate the comment. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere, dude. I'm sorry. Normally, I can still see it on Streamlabs, but I can't even see it here. It also deleted Natsuno's comment as well. Holy crap, YouTube sucks, guys. So Natsuno said only 10 to 12-year-old boys have a high chance of being Witcher, no girls or adults. Why would YouTube censor that? Dude, what the actual hell? Like, nothing Natsuno said was at all, like, derogatory. Would be funny if they pulled the rug out and she's not really a Witcher. I mean, who knows? You doubt they're going to do the Mad Woman thing this day and age? I don't know about that. Because honestly, this is a situation where it seems like it doesn't matter how many times we've seen the same script, the same storyline, the same idea or agenda put into a game, and the game flops. Gamers hate it. People are ridiculed over it. These studios continue to pump it out time and time and time again. And it seems like they just don't learn. They're allergic to learning. YouTube's defending woke lore Witchers, apparently. Like, I have to go through both my tabs on Streamlabs just to verify if a comment got deleted or not. Yeah, Deadhouse says that's why I'm on Rumble. See, and that's why I keep a presence on Rumble. You know, my Rumble viewership, I might have like a couple people on a live stream. My videos might get 10, 20, 30 views. But, you know, inevitably, whether YouTube pans out or not, I have to make sure that I've got backups, you know? You care about Witcher's staying male lead franchise? It's that simple. It'll change the atmosphere? Yeah. And you know the funny thing is, I remember when I first played The Witcher on my my Xbox, it was probably 5 years ago, something like that. I had no problem playing Ciri. Now, I didn't love the part of the game where you had to play Ciri. I preferred the gameplay as Geralt, but I'm not like, oh, gross, yuck, I'm playing this girl, this sucks. No, it was fine. But it wasn't why I got the game. It certainly was not the main reason for buying the game or playing the game. The whole point of the game is Geralt. You might just download Rumble. Dude, I've got links on my website to both channels, Rumble, both channels, BitChutes, both channels. I think I have my link to Odyssey on there, but I don't upload to Odyssey anymore because YouTube, being wonderful, you know, YouTube not liking competition, a while back they deleted the ability or removed the ability to mirror your content from YouTube to Rumble. So now I have to upload everything one at a time to Rumble, to BitChute, all that. I'm too lazy to upload it to Rumble, BitChute, Twitter. I even throw all my videos on an Instagram account. But it's like Odyssey is like the last one. I just never get around to it, you know. Don't care if the game is woke or not. Care if the gameplay and story are good. Yeah, well, I've talked about it before. Warframe. Warframe is the prime example of a game that definitely has what you could consider a woke message behind it, or woke agenda of sorts. Certainly has a lot of things that are, you can tell are like trans-coded, if you will. And the people that made the game are very liberal, left-wing, woke people. But the game is still great. It's still a really, really awesome game. And the story is fantastic. I love the story of Warframe. It's a fantastic game. But, you know, again, it's technically, if you're going to go, you know, by definitions, it's a woke game. There's no question there. They cut their 50 million strong audience in half, perhaps even more. Are you talking about YouTube or Rumble? Those are great stories for you, even if sometimes violent in nature. Well, I mean, everyone's going to enjoy different things. So reality is there are definitely stories that are going to be like have a heavier message, or maybe even dip their toe in things that might be a little more controversial. But everyone enjoys things for a reason. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and jump ahead, talk about Intergalactic, because again, Eric Kane, a guy who is liberal, left-leaning. Oh, CDPR. Okay, I'm like, who cut their audience in half? Yeah, no. I'm not writing off Witcher 4. I'm not going to say I will never play this game, but I am going to say I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to watch and see what happens. And if it seems like this game is going to be a dumpster fire, if we start seeing the people from the game, the developers, the community managers, if these people start coming out and going, oh, we just need to get rid of these incel bigots. And we've seen some people, we have stories of people that work for CDPR that have come out attacking gamers, attacking fans, attacking people on social media, criticizing, mocking, belittling them. So you're already seeing a lot of that conflict between the team at CDPR and people on social media where it's like, why are you attacking us? We're your audience. We're your gamers. We simply want to make sure the game is not going to suck, right? And yet, here we are again, where it's like every new game that comes out, there's going to be some controversy. And sure, we could all bury our heads in the sand. Here's the thing. If you are sick and tired of the drama, if you're tired of people complaining about wokeness, if you're tired of people complaining about the LGBT agenda and, you know, all this crap in video games, you could absolutely bury your head in the sand, okay? Absolutely. You could just dive headfirst in the sand, ignore all of it, and never think twice about anything you consume. Just play the video game, watch the movie, consume, and you could probably live moderately happy, ignorant, not giving a crap about what you're consuming or the quality that you actually get. But if you care about quality, if you care about good gameplay, good stories, and not just being preached at, unfortunately, this is kind of what comes with it. You know, being aware and cognizant of the agenda and the reason for the decisions that are made behind the scenes. And it unfortunately just kind of trickles down to where, okay, you can't just ignore it because it's right there in your face all the time. You absolutely could just go by and play something else. You could. Just gonna say you get a few reactions to it. Yeah. No, so honestly, when it comes down to it, my biggest issue with this entire situation is we are seeing a repeat. This is something that's crazy too, because obviously we've always known that most of Hollywood is very like left-leaning, crazy, liberal. Save the environment, save people in other countries, but I don't want them living in my gated community. You know, you guys, the poor people, you go support these homeless people and give them your money. Us rich people, we're just going to stay in our palaces and not have to, you know, socialize with the lower class. That's how Hollywood is, all the elites, right? And so very much it's the same kind of mentality that you're getting now with these actresses and actors who are also voice actors, who they're going to preach at you, they're going to lecture you, they're going to be the ones to say, oh no, you guys need to be better. We need more LGBT representation. We need more of this and more of that. But these people themselves don't have to put any skin in the game. Like, they just honestly don't even, it's just words. That's what we call it, virtue signaling, you know? Yeah, Mr. Tay, that's it. And how are you doing tonight? When the message comes first, ahead of gameplay, ahead of anything else, there's not much you can do unless you're really good at shoving your head up your ass and not paying attention. You're going to notice it after a while. So unfortunately, when we start getting every other game with characters that look like this, hang on, let me see if we can move over here. Why is it not letting me move over? Well, that's good enough. You get the idea. When every other game starts to look like this, and then you find out who the actress is, and then you see comments from the actress, and you see comments from, you know, the things that they've said and the opinions they have of general populace and the things that are being pushed on gamers and everything, it's unfortunately even harder to ignore. And that doesn't mean you have to go attack these people and call them names. I don't ever go out of my way to track down the people that I cover in my videos and say, oh, you're a piece of crap. I hate you. You know, I hope you fail. I hope you're homeless next. I don't do that. I don't condone doing that. Do I troll people? Absolutely. Shit posting is fun. I got blocked by Naughty Dog. Okay. I got blocked by Naughty Dog's social media account for a meme I made. Just a meme. That's it. It's just a meme, you know? No, propaganda, unfortunately, is a short-term game. I don't believe propaganda in the long run will be effective, especially nowadays, given the fact that we have so much more access to information. We are so much more, despite how stupid we are and how not everybody can agree on the information that they're being given, we have access to more information than we've ever had before. So whether or not we all agree on what we're reading, it's so funny. Prime example, okay? It's not just politics. It's not just like, you know, a political thing or like a social cause or an ideology. My brother and I, he's a year older than me, right? We were born like a year and a few days apart. So very close in age. We were both in community college in high school because we were like smart kids, right? And I say that tongue in cheek because I'm really not that smart. Maybe we were advanced. I don't know. So he and I were going to college, to our first 2 years of college as teenagers. You know, the same time as high school classes. Junior, senior year. And despite the fact that he and I took the same classes, had the same professors, took the same tests, had the same workbooks, everything, we would get roughly the same grade, but we would get different answers wrong. You know, we'd both study for the test, and we'd apparently hear different things in class because none of our answers, like other than like the basic ones, a lot of the other ones just didn't line up. So it's so funny how you can have two people from the same family even, who are very close in age, who see the same story, read the same book, hear the same lecture, and get like wildly different interpretations of it. This is one of those situations where it's like, yeah, this is, again, we have more access to information than ever, and yet people don't all process it the same way. I think that's the long and short of my point about that. This is why Western or Eastern game women are better. Well, sure, but it's not just about the women. It's not just about the women. That's the easy, okay. Just like I said, when it comes to a person looking like this, looking non-binary, focusing on a strong, independent woman, making her less feminine, these are symptoms, okay? These are just symptoms. But what they tell you is the direction, that's the direction the game's going. That's the story, you know? And even if that's not true, even if it ends up being, oh, well, this specific game, it wasn't some overbearing, strong, independent woman who didn't need no man, and how she's just like this, you know, boss bitch, but no, not really. She still has a heart, she still has empathy, and she's still feminine, sort of. We've seen this so many times that pattern recognition is a real thing. Pattern recognition exists for a reason. And when you've been fed the same crappy meal over and over and over again, eventually you realize this doesn't taste good, you know? You wish you didn't find the bald character attractive. Hey, you know, I'm not going to kink shame. I'm not going to tell you can or can't find something attractive. To me, they took a woman who can look attractive. The Tati Gabrielle. I don't find her like drop dead gorgeous or like, you know, she's certainly not in my top 5, top 10 prettiest celebrities of all time, right? But the actress, Tati Gabrielle, when she just looks feminine, yes, she is pretty. I don't think she's like drop dead gorgeous, but I think she's pretty, okay? I think that's a fair assessment. You take that feminine, pretty, those you know, feminine features away, and you shave the head, and then you take the character and make the character even more masculine. I mean, look, let me find some, let me see, where are we at here? I'll just bring it up over here. Let me grab some, I'm gonna grab some bookmarks. Hopefully I still have all of them. Because what they did to this actress, it's mind-boggling, right? They took somebody, she's like a skinny little, you know, I think maybe half Asian or whatever her ethnicity is. And they decided to do the Abby treatment from that Last of Us Part 2, where they just beefed the hell out of her. Like, it doesn't even look like the same person. When you look at the arms and the shape of the body, the deltoids, everything else, it's no longer the same person. They even lightened her skin too. Oh God, this is so good. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta drag this one over here. I don't know if you guys have seen this one, but this is so. Yeah, this one's pretty good. Not gonna lie. I know you, Susanna, you were saying that the bald punk chick thing is kind of cool. To me, it looks more like Gollum. I think that's a fairly accurate representation. Let me see here. Where are we at? Where is that? I swear I had this saved. The picture of her with her big buff arms. I went through before the stream and got rid of a ton of bookmarks. So it's possible that I don't have it anymore. Oh, here's a good one. We'll save that for a second from now. Well, if I can't find the picture, you guys, I'm sure, have already seen it. They absolutely distort the shape of her body, right? they don't use the actual body of the actress. Instead, they decide to go with more of a butch, masculinized version of the actress. And this is the funniest thing. So this person here decided to do a commission to own the chuds, right? And it says, fragile masculinity, 100% incel tears. So DEI-licious. Now, the funniest part about it is when you look at the picture, the first thing you notice is that this over here actually looks like Tati Gabrielle, and this one here looks like Ciri, more or less, from Witcher 3, right? It absolutely looks more feminine. You don't mind the short hair on women, you just can't do bald chicks. You know, Mr. Tay, the funny thing is, I've seen a lot of the, the so-called black hairstyles nowadays, because it's been such a topic of conversation, like, we don't have enough black hairstyles in video games and this and that. I'm like, look, I think variety is great. I think the obsession about we don't have enough black hair, it's like, I don't ever look at hair and say we don't have enough white hair. There's just a lot of generic hairstyles in video games, and it's not all white. But the funny thing that I've noticed is, with a lot of the way women style their hair nowadays, I would rather have a black, if I was going to date a black woman, I would rather she have natural hair that was just like frizzy, or like shave it. I probably would be okay with her shaving her head. Not even kidding. But not doing it because she's some butch, strong woman, just doing it because it's easier. I don't know. Ciri looks like her previous self. She certainly looks a lot closer to it. Hey, Angry Wolverine, how's it going? You did have a second account just in case Sensitive Soy Loser blocked you? Yeah. What? I gotta go see what my cat's doing. Hang on a second. Give me a sec. What are you guys doing? Oh, he just knocked that down. All at once. He's dropping paint. The little tubes of paint, he's knocking them off. My cat's an asshole, I swear. Paris Kambata from the first Star Trek movie. Oh my god, I haven't watched a Star Trek movie in so long. Tricky with art, not everyone cares if it matches reality or not. Too much drama. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like they thought that this was some sort of own, but they made them look actually feminine, right? Yeah, I didn't know that she was in that movie. I didn't care to watch it. Like I said, I've said many times before, I've never owned a PlayStation. So I never have really cared to get into a lot of the PlayStation exclusives. And one of those was like God of War. I really wanted to get around to picking up some of the God of War games now that they're coming to PC. And then I learned about David Jaffe, and I'm like, I don't necessarily feel like I'm missing anything now. Oh, the Persis Kambata passed away. Well, that's sad. We need a game collapse. I would prefer we have a righting of the ship, kind of like a bottoming out. I don't mean a full-blown collapse. Yeah, it's kind of the direction things are headed. She didn't bother you until you heard her talk in real life. Well, Susano, I've never seen her in anything. That's the funniest part. I've never seen her in anything, and yet when I watched her speaking of like the red carpet stuff and then seeing the interviews and things that she said, I'm like, I just can't. She's just freaking annoying. She's like every other airhead in Hollywood, you know? That's just kind of the long and the short of it, unfortunately. They call us incels, but you have a girlfriend. You know, Mr. Tay, honestly, it doesn't matter what they call you. I had somebody call me a grifter. So, you know, the people, and I've said before, like, I don't defend Grums. I don't attack Grums. Grums is Grums. So if you either like him or hate him, whatever, cool. But like they go really hard at him with like the hammer gifts and everything else, you know, trying to wish him death, right? The same thing with Endymion. And so one of these same dudes that's always like sharing hammer gifts, like they want to beat people to death, did the same thing to me. They're like, oh, I just looked at your account. You're one of these right-wing chud grifter, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, first of all, I'm not a chud because I've never claimed to be like an alpha male giga chad. So no, I don't consider myself a chad, therefore I'm not a chud. Furthermore, to be a grifter, you have to be lying to benefit, like to profit off something. I'm not telling lies. I'm telling you my opinion. How can you be grifting if you're just being honest? Technically, to be a grifter, you have to be lying about something, you know? My cat is such an asshole. He's knocking stuff over. Oh my God. Yeah, the thing is, I've said before about Grums, I would rather he was actually finishing his game that he crowdfunded than spending all of his time on social media. But that's, I guess, what he's decided the next evolution of his career is going to be. And it's unfortunate because I don't think the game that people backed and then they started blocking people over is ever getting done. But that's a topic for a different day. Actors thinking that they're more important than the characters is hysterical. Hey, Subject 117, how's it going? Why would you care what they call you? That's exactly it, Susano. Who cares? Why would you care what they call you? God of War, and especially Ragnarok, the most unfairly maligned victims of the culture war. You can't blame people for avoiding them because they have cutscenes and they race swapped character. But there's no better, more straight-up red-pilled father-son game by being a strong leader and father. Yeah, well, okay, so but the difference is I think Last of Us 2 was generally a bad story from what I've read. Because I know a lot about the storyline after everything kind of blew up about Last of Us 2. I've never heard anything bad, like truly negatively bad about the story of God of War, other than like the race swapping and stuff. Drinker are like the only mainstream guys that treated it fairly. Oh, Mauler and Critical Drinker. Yeah. Yeah, no, I honestly, like, I don't know enough about the God of War father-son relationship with him and, what is his name? It's not Atreus. It's, oh, crap. I'm showing him what a fake gamer I am. No, it's like I've played so many video games. I just don't, like I said, I've never owned a PlayStation. You gave 2018 a chance and you were just kind of bored by it. You'll never play Ragnarok. Okay, so that's what I've seen. Susano says also. I watched a streamer back when I actually used to watch like game streams on Twitch. Big streamer Sheriff Eli. He did a big playthrough of The Last of Us 2. I was like, this is generally just not worth it, you know? Hey, John CRA, dude, YouTube is suppressing the hell out of half of what you guys say. So he said Last of Us 2 is garbage and subversive. I didn't even see that comment. I had to check Streamlabs for that. Unfortunate thing about the gameplay side is that a lot of God of War fans are the console war types. Dude, I used to be a console warrior. I swear to God, I used to be a console warrior. Now I'll say like PC Master Race and it pisses people off, but I don't care if you can't afford a PC or if you prefer to play on a console. That's fine. Look, there are people. When one of my favorite games, Insurgency Sandstorm, went to Game Pass, all the Steam players like, oh God, now we got to play with Xbot retards and this. And I'm like, guys, it's more people. Okay, there's going to be a steeper learning curve for these Xbox players because the 20, 30 of us that are still playing on PC have been grinding the hell out of this game. And sure, these guys are going to suck when they first join up. But I thought, hey, more players, that's better. Same thing when Hell Let Loose went on Game Pass, right? A bigger audience, more gamers, more players. It's a net positive. So I'm not one of those guys that goes, oh, I don't want to play with console players. They suck. No, I generally don't have a dog in the fight. I think PC is the best option, but if you can't afford a PC or if you don't like it, there's nothing wrong with playing on console. Like my days of console loyalty are over. I just simply because I was an Xbox and Nintendo guy, I never wanted a PlayStation. So I did miss out on some of the exclusives. Let me see here. A lot of God. Let me see. Sigrun is harder than any boss you can find in any other game. Oh yeah, no. So that was the other thing too. That was really funny. Is yeah, you get a lot of these with console versus PC games. Like for example, when I played Dark Souls 3, because I guess Dark Souls 3 and on Xbox is not cross-play with PC, or at least it wasn't when I was playing Dark Souls 3. So I was playing Dark Souls 3 on Xbox, and I couldn't even get any co-op at all because there was like nobody playing on Xbox when I played it. So some of the bosses I struggled with, I couldn't even find anybody to help me out with them. Hey, Blu-ray. Don't stress on the negative. They don't know you and you don't know them. Yeah, no, for real. Because their accounts are straight up dumb. If they posted, was that Erling's final fight, people would see how good Wukong's fighting actually is. Yeah, and see, Angry, the really funny thing about that is I think that there's a lot of people who are like, I'm PlayStation plus Nintendo, I'm Xbox plus Nintendo, I'm PC plus Nintendo. Or I'm just Nintendo and then I'll play whatever else too. Audience is a false perception of a false persona of you. Again, they don't know you. Yeah, that is very true too. And I tried to point that out at one point, and that was one time where I got called a grifter like 6 months ago because I referred to my online persona, and someone's like, "Oh, you're saying that you're fake online?" I'm like, "That's not what I said." What I'm saying is, no matter what I say online, you don't know me personally like you would in real life. So even online, if you're honest, it's still an online persona. But you know, they're gonna find something to bitch about everything, really. Everyone dug in their heels and the actual games no longer matter. Everything's only regarded in light of its capacity. So here is one thing I will say. Yeah, no, the Souls games on Xbox, that was kind of a joke, like I said, because honest to God, I couldn't find a single person to help me out. It was like the player base was non-existent. It was terrible. The one thing I will say about that, though, is... crap, where were we going with that? Dude, my brain is just shut down. Modern activities are all talk, no bite. No, but long story short, the console war is stupid. There's no question there. My thought on the whole console thing. The one thing I will say is if you're looking at the same game, not talking about console exclusives, Nintendo, their Mario games are great. Legend of Zelda games are great. Any game like Metroid for their system is great, right? Same with, I'm sure, the Xbox and PlayStation exclusives, with some exceptions. They're designed to run well, okay? That being said, when you have to compare this a cross-platform game where you can play on either PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo always looks like ass, okay? And I'm a Nintendo fan. I love Nintendo. But Nintendo games that are not made by Nintendo or made for Nintendo that are also available on other platforms just don't run well. And it's really sad. It's really pathetic. You built a 4090 Strix and do most of your gaming on that. Use your Switch that you jailbroke if a new Nintendo game leaks and you won't play it. That's the thing for me. I gave my kids my Xbox because I got to where most of the games with Game Pass, on PC, I can play all the Xbox games on here. And then, of course, I don't really play much in the way of like any of my physical disc games anymore, so. Fallout Souls Bro on every system, even on the Switch. See, I've never seen any of the Souls games run on the Switch, so I don't know even what they would look like on the Switch, to be honest. Yeah, Natsuno, I think I'm with you there. I wish I would research buying physical more often, but digital is just so freaking convenient. I hate it. Yeah, no, console war is pretty dead. There are still those, and here's the funny thing, because I pissed off a lot of people the other day. I had this tweet that got a lot of views and a lot of angry people. Some of you guys might have seen it. Blu-ray might have seen it. I can't remember, but no, I said basically on an IGN post of, which console did you play the most in 2024? And it was like 41% PlayStation by the time it was over, 23% PC. And I'm just like, imagine playing on something besides a PC. I'm not shaming people. I'm not saying, oh, the poors can't afford a PC or you suck if you play console. I was just like, yeah, imagine not playing on a PC. The most people that were pissed off at me were like PlayStation fanboys. Literally one of the guy's names, his username on Twitter was console exclusives determine the better console or something like that, right? It's insane. I'm like, dude, your entire online persona is shilling for a corporation. But he's all like, oh, you're just some PC snob living in your basement. It's like, no, dude, I've got a very, I would argue, reasonably bargain basement, PC that desperately needs a new graphics card. It's still on like DDR4 RAM because I have an AM4 board. So I'm generations behind on the PC parts. And, I don't live in a basement. I have a wife and 3 kids. But, they see somebody say that they're a PC player and instantly there's the weirdest thing is this PlayStation, this anti-PC gamer perspective that a lot of like primarily PlayStation users have. I feel like it's less from Xbox because of the Game Pass like symbiotic relationship. Maybe it didn't used to be this way, but you don't see as many like Xbox fanboys like shitting on PC as you will from PlayStation. You get the people that are broke, but if they're that broke, they have bigger issues than buying a console. Yeah, because honestly, and I was like, look, these same people saying, well, PCs are expensive, are going to go out there and spend like the $700-800 on the PS5 Pro when it releases. Like, don't tell me you can't afford a PC if you're spending $800 on a PS5 Pro. You can go to Costco right now. I'm a big Costco shopper, right? You can go to Costco right now and get a computer with a 4060 graphics card, which is better than the one I have, for $850. Just saying. They have one on sale for like $850. You know? You have a PS5 and you hate it? Yeah, my point about all of it is just the entire console war thing is just stupid. Microsoft went full Thanos and shut down the GameSpy network. Yeah, Microsoft's done a lot of stupid things. And how are you doing tonight, G? Never buy Pro anything. No, honestly, I was tempted when Nintendo was rumored to be releasing the Pro version of the Switch, and then they just decided to come out with the OLED version with a bigger screen. And it's like, well, none of my kids hardly ever just use the screen. Most of the time when they're playing games, like, oh, that's not true. Okay, so my kids all like to play Apex Legends together, and it's really cringe. And then they make me play it, and I suck at it because I gave up on that game when it turned into Fortnite. But that being said, my kid will play on the Switch, and he'll use the screen because my daughter's using the Xbox. But still. YouTube just blocked the chat? Maybe. Let me take a look. You said you were going to return it anyway after doing your Rebirth run. That's the last thing I see from you. Yeah, dude, YouTube is acting up like hardcore. They are being massively censorious. Yeah, honestly, DB, that's a big part of it. I think people just want to have something to beef about. And there's other things that I'm happy to fight about. He was hyping the sales of Last of Us 2. I think that's honestly my biggest problem with it. It's one thing if you say, well, look, I prefer the games that Nintendo comes out with. And honestly, I do. I prefer the games that Nintendo has as far as like their platform exclusives. My kids love the Mario games. I'm a big Legend of Zelda nerd. There's a few of those that I'm just like, these are games that I will always know that I'll play. So I'm probably always going to have a Nintendo, you know? But then when it comes down to it, you know, I also like some of the Xbox exclusives. At least I used to. I used to be a big Halo fan. Not anymore. Halo is pretty much dead to me at this point. But in general, everything comes to PC at some point or another. So that's why I say I think PC is just the smartest choice if you can afford it. Now, again, this is not about shaming people who can't. Your last ban was for calling John Jones a bitch. Wait, whoa! Why'd you call John Jones a bitch? You're talking about the UFC fighter, right? You just got back from a 24-hour YouTube ban yourself. I don't think I've ever been banned from commenting for 24 hours. Now, I've been banned on Twitter multiple times. I've had multiple Twitter suspension bans, permanent bans, temporary bans, whatever. You must have been on some list before. Dude, my wife, I showed her the meme that I made where Naughty Dog decided to block me on Twitter. Like, it was a funny meme. It was funny. I said, look, where are we at here? I said, okay, so Naughty Dog has this trailer, this little GIF that they have that says, in case you missed it, check out the full announcement trailer for our next game, Intergalactic, The Heretic Prophet. I said in quotes, oh yeah, this design is peak. Gamers are gonna love this, right? I'm not gonna blow this up full screen because I think YouTube doesn't like this particular image. I know Atreus got a 7-day ban on YouTube from uploading simply for having this as his thumbnail. And it's a game you can stream on YouTube. So make it make sense. I don't understand. But yeah, you get the idea. You can understand kind of what we're going with that. Because for some weird reason, David Druckmann has a thing for very strong, very buff women. You're chatty here? Well, hey, I appreciate chattiness. Honestly, like, I don't mind getting misdirected, redirected. Happens all the time, every single stream. Somebody will apologize. Oh, didn't mean to, sidetrack. I'm like, look, if it wasn't a stream where I got sidetracked on something else, it wouldn't be a normal stream for us here, okay? You've got YouTube Premium and you've been banned also, or you're talking about because your chats are getting deleted? Yeah, so John, before you said I was going to return it anyway, the last thing I saw from you was you bought a PS5 Pro, you built a 4090. So unless it's one of those, which I see on the YouTube chat, so I'm not sure if, whatever. You personally have more issues chatting in my chat than elsewhere? Dude, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. So I've talked about this before. I have talked about this many times. And unfortunately, Okay, so here's a little he's a butt boy for Nildra. I'll keep an eye on Moriarty's channel. No, so DB, back to your point. I have addressed this multiple times in videos on Twitter, but I really try to not talk about it much. And when I do mention it in a video, that video tends to get like 10 to 15,000 views, and then I feel like an ass, right? I feel like an entire ass anytime I say, oh, my channel's being suppressed, and then it happens to be on a video that gets like decent views, right? But long story short, my channel has been having a lot of problems with the algorithm. So for a while, before I had like 5,000 subscribers, if a video had a couple thousand views, great. Then I'd have ones that had, 20,000 views, 30,000 views. Awesome. Then it would dip back down. I'd have videos that consistently got 5 to 10,000 views. So my sweet spot was like, I think my normal average for views was like in the 9, maybe 10,000. The last 2 months after I hit 10,000 subscribers, and the same thing happened to John Trent, and he and I have been talking about this a lot. Right around the same time, the last few months, October was his worst month in like 2 years or a year and a half for the views and subscribers and all that. We were both down to like, each of us went from gaining 800 to 1,000 subscribers a month for a 28-day period to where right now I'm below 200 subscribers a month, net gain. And my video views at the high this year, like July or August, I want to say, I was getting like 40,000 hang on a second. 40,000 watch hours, I think is about what I was getting. Now I'm at like 7,000 watch hours a month. So something happened in the algorithm after I hit 10,000 subscribers where they just dialed it down, right? But if I mention it in a video, then that video does well. So I don't know. Can you set the auto moderator to ban any comment that begins with as a? Probably, I could probably do that. Once you get a guideline strike, your channel just dies. Well, thank God that's never happened to me. In a way, Moriarty is to blame for a lot of the worshipping of cinematic slop. Back when Last of Us 1 came out, IGN reviews still influence people's purchases. Yeah, luckily people have learned that, IGN isn't everything it's all cracked up to be. But unfortunately, it could be that I'm under a magnifying glass. It could be any number of things. What can I do? You just kind of have to keep trucking along. Plus, it coincides with my busiest time of year, which is finally kind of slowing down. So the last couple months, it was really hard to be consistent with the 3 streams a week, videos every single day, and then I tried switching it up. I tried doing video uploads in the morning versus like my late night video uploads, which, to be fair, for whatever reason, my later night video uploads, which is what I did for the first 6-7 months, typically do better for views than uploading in the morning. Like if I have a video in the morning that does well, it'll gain a bunch of views all at once and then it'll just taper off really fast. Whereas a nightly upload might be better than in the morning, He's the epitome of I want to be respected for liking games. I don't want these smelly anime girl fans associating with my medium. Oh man. No, dude, Moriarty's funny. You're talking, isn't he the one, Long Island Viper on Twitter? Because he tries so hard. He tries so hard to be like this. I'm a moderate, right there in the middle. I don't think that many things are woke, but he just, I don't know. Definition of milk toast, right? It's really funny how many of those exist. And that's things like, I don't ever want to be considered like milk toast or a fence sitter. I just have my own opinions. And sometimes my opinion is going to be, it's not that big of a deal. And sometimes I'm going to look at something and say, not a chance in hell I'm ever going to touch this. Prime example, this Intergalactic game, right? So it's a PlayStation game, so I don't even have to think about it for a while because it's not going to be on PC. But the reality is we've seen this so many times before. Even people like Eric Kane, who I've said before is a very liberal guy, points out that we have a lot of issues where comparisons to Concord are being made, right? Yeah, Blu-ray, we're talking about Colin Moriarty. When Sony buying Katakawa and FromSoft news broke, everyone was talking about Sony owning FromSoft. Colin, on the other hand, kept going on about how he wanted Sony to buy Katakawa. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. So again, this decision to make the character. Okay, here's a prime example. This is a great tweet right here. Eric Kane points out, I wish Naughty Dog had just let players pick the hairdo for Intergalactic, the Hair to Profit's protagonist, because Tati Gabrielle with a fro looks way cooler than this shit. And I pointed out, like, again, I think she's fine. I think if you find her attractive, you know, that's great. I don't think she's like the most beautiful woman on the planet, but I think she looks pretty. You know, I've said the same thing about the Witcher4 trailer with Ciri. I don't think she's an ugly, masculine character. I think they just didn't recreate Ciri from Witcher 3. And Ciri in Witcher 3 is much prettier. And then, of course, you see the character that they made. So again, it's not just the bald head. They changed the face. They made her look far more masculine. They gave her way bigger deltoids. Her shoulders are much broader, you know? Far center. Dude, and then John then duplicated the message as well. Dude, YouTube is being like all screwy, man. I don't know. I don't know what is up with YouTube, but there's a reason people call it ScrewTube, right? Eric got tons of shit because he gave Gamergate 1 a fair shake. Oh, that makes sense now. Hey, Shinatsky, how's it going? Yeah, that if he was like at all friendly to gamers, or at least receptive to a lot of the messaging that Gamergate 1 had, that would make a lot more sense now. Small chins and jaws on women to these people are like sunlight to vampires. Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like so he also pointed out in his article, we're not going to bother reading it because there's other stuff to get into, and I really want to cover the Alyssa Mercante stuff. But in here, he points out, why is Sony all of a sudden, and Naughty Dog decided to make Last of Us and not use the actual actors as the motion capture models. They created the characters and then they hired voice actors, right? Cool. So you can make the character look however you wanted it to. So in the case of Joel, and this is part of the problem, I think, with the way they did it, was they wanted to make a live action series and they got freaking Pedro Pascal to play Joel. I'm sorry. That's like the worst casting ever. I hate Pedro Pascal. Not just his politics, but his face, everything about it. I cannot stand Pedro Pascal. Even if he was like the most based guy on the planet, I still wouldn't want to watch him in anything. I am that grossed out by having to watch Pedro Pascal on screen. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. The guy just bothers me, right? It's like the most unpopular opinion I have because everyone else loves Pedro Pascal. It's the craziest thing. So that being said, they chose to create the characters from scratch for Last of Us, and it worked really well. Then you get into this game where they have the Indian actor from the Eternals. They've got Tati Gabrielle. There's another actor that Eric mentions in this article, all of which they created the character to resemble the actor, right? Oh my God, Hugh Jackman would have been so much better. While Colin only cared about Sony potentially owning anime smut magazines. Yeah. If Eric did that, dare I say he landed great? Well, yeah, no, I mean, obviously Eric is doing well for himself, but still, he is kind of like the outlier. He's the center-left guy who's not, he doesn't toe the line with all the far lefty shit. It's really weird. Pedro has got a lot of things that don't match up with Joel. Yeah, see, Susano, everyone's like, oh, he's a decent actor, but for me, there are actors who just bother me on some level that I can't even begin to describe, and Pedro Pascal's one of those. For some weird reason, he just gets under my skin, and I just can't even explain it. And this is before I knew his politics. This is before the whole thing with calling all the right-wingers Nazis during the 2020 election, when they fired Gina Carano, but he got to stay. This is like, I've seen videos of him acting weird, like clinging with other women and stuff, like in public. He's a very weird, creepy guy. But all that stuff aside, I just, like, the minute he took his helmet off in The Mandalorian Season 1, I'm like, And I didn't watch Game of Thrones, so I didn't even see his character in Game of Thrones to have, like, a bad impression of him from the get-go. I just don't like him. I don't know. Oh, man. If you look in the mirror at 3 a.m. and say, Baldy Jordan. I don't even know what that means, NS. I'm not going to try to figure it out. He always just want to be the edgy libertarian that got to hang out with the liberal crew. He's still hung up about being cast out of Greg Miller's circle. Yeah, he got canceled for a joke, right? Yeah, and see, DB, that's big part of the problem for me. I don't understand. Like, I can understand if you like Pedro Pascal. Okay, if you like him, great. And I understand some people are even annoyed by how many roles Chris Pratt gets, or how all of us want Henry Cavill to be in everything. I get it. You get sick and tired of seeing the same actor get every role. Pedro Pascal is the one that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why is he the golden boy? Why is this middle-aged Latino guy who doesn't resemble half the roles that he's gotten, like Joel, for example? I thought he was the wrong casting for The Mandalorian. I was like, you need a boring-ass white dude. Just get some plain nobody who doesn't have any distinct features, you know? NS, I got other things I'm thinking about, man. We're not even talking about, like, this game specifically right now. We're talking Pedro Pascal, man. They make their living playing dress up for a living. They pretend to be something they're not. Well, yeah. Yeah. Jack Black's I Am Steve comes to mind. Oh, God. Hey, Rabnad, how's it going? Dude, that Minecraft movie is going to be straight up cancer. What were they even thinking? Probably like Shia was with Spielberg. Yeah, I never liked Shia or Shia, however you pronounce that freaking name. But he had a very interesting arc in Hollywood, I gotta say. Very, very strange guy. In some ways, I kind of respect it. In other ways, he's kind of a creep. I don't know. It's very strange. The one thing I remember from an interview after the first Transformers movie that he was in was, I think he said something about how he thought his mother was the most beautiful woman on the planet and he would have married her if he could or something. It's very, very odd. Very strange. Yeah, so basically...
Do I need to be
Oh,
liked?
no. Here it starts. Here we go.
I like to... Do I need to be liked?
Dude, NS, man.
I like to be... Do I need to be liked?
Ugh.
Absolutely not. I like to be liked. I enjoy being liked. I have to be liked.
I gotta get quieter alerts, dude. I've had this set up for Twitch, and it works fine for YouTube. But then I have to wait for it to get done because it's so freaking loud. Or I could just turn off the sound. Either way, NS, dude, you were freaking awesome. Some gifted for the streamer for highlighting creeps in Hollywood. Dude, there's too many to even count. Oh no, I know he had a really rough life. Really rough life. Yeah, dude, Rabnat, I loved him as Bowser. I thought he was freaking awesome as Bowser. Oedipus Complex. Yeah, now again, don't quote me on it, but I remember something about Shia LaBeouf talking about his mom in some sort of matter, like he said she was like the most beautiful woman or something. It was something very strange. I guess she was like a gypsy or something, like he traveled around or whatever, didn't really have a home. I don't know. Like, I've never looked into the full story of like how bad his childhood really was, but all I know is people have said, like, again, that he had a really bad upbringing or rough life or whatever. Very, very weird though. So let's go ahead and jump over to, what do we have here? Oh, hang on a second. Okay. So I guess allegedly the plot for Intergalactic got leaked, but this is one of these weird situations. Smash JT says he'd take it with a grain of salt. Story of the leaker sure sounds familiar, but there's actually a proposed community note on here, and I don't know if this matters or not. So the plot and gameplay, allegedly, details have been revealed. It's supposed to be, it was sent to a handful of games journalists, and that's what part of the community note's about. Most notable of whom includes Jason Schreier, but they're debating whether or not to share it. Leaker is supposedly a disgruntled ND staff member who hates the direction the company is going as Druckmann gets more powerful and influential. My friend in an exclusive gaming journalist Discord server sent me this summary of the leak. That's what this guy says, right? And then they go into this leak saying the player character was a member of the Five Aces, a band of criminals, and they just kind of go through the whole plot line for the story. Now, the only thing I find interesting from this leak, if at all true, is the fact that there's apparently in this 1980s space game where you're stranded on a planet where nobody's left from 600 worlds, you're looking for somebody, right? Is the fact that there's no space combat, no space travel. If that's true about this leak, that would be very interesting, okay? Like, can you imagine having a space game with no space combat? I mean, we've had a few of those before, not gonna lie, then they've been pretty terrible. Hang on a second. Henry's up there with Mel Gibson. Yeah. Pierce Brosnan isn't with that crowd. He's all for building. Dude, honestly, Pierce Brosnan, as much as I didn't like him as an actor, seems like a really cool guy in real life. I mean, just seems normal, right? Chuck Norris. A fairy told me while I was tripping on acid. That's the best reliable source you can get, dude. Why does the alt 1980s have the progressive politics of 2025? Yeah. What kind of employee does that? I don't know. So here's what I will say, and NS can back me up on this. I have spoken at times to people who are developers at studios that have like AAA games, who have explained a lot of this woke crap. It got into the company. The CEO, the owners, they thought, hey, diversity and inclusion, that sounds great. They can't be that bad. It comes in, it infiltrates, it takes over the company, and it basically destroys the company from within. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't have very much sympathy for the developers who get fired due to the fact that the company went woke and then went broke. Unfortunately, the majority of people, it still seems, in a lot of these companies are still decent people who just want to make a good product. It is truly the minority, the people that are the DEI pushers in these companies, that cause it to fail. Hey, Mari. And it sucks. It really is sucky, because it causes the good people to lose their jobs too. Now, I'm not going to say that the companies don't need to go under. Unfortunately, the ones that do buy into wokeness, even if it's a small percentage of the activists pushing for it that cause it to fail, I mean, the company still has to fail for things to change. It just sucks that so many good people get caught in the crossfire, you know? It's a really shitty thing. So to answer your question, I think that there are a lot of employees who would reach out to people to say, hey, I'm just tired of this. We got to do something because this is going to eat us alive. It's going to destroy us from within. You remember kids in the 80s and 90s, gay and other words were yelled at you constantly in school? Yeah, but again, it was just banter, you know? If you can't say no, then do you truly have freedom? No. No, there's 100% you can't. Well, yeah, but Susano, that's if they catch who the person is. They'd have to, and these companies now, think about it this way. These companies, these studios, you're not talking about 10, 20, 30 people anymore, you know? You're talking about these studios have, multiple locations spanning different continents sometimes, and hundreds, if not thousands of employees total owned by some of the companies like Sony, Xbox, whatever. And then, of course, the multiple studios that they have different branches of. You don't feel bad. They need to find different. No, so again, I say when I feel bad, I feel bad for the individual developers on a person, case by case basis. I don't feel bad for the company itself going under, because again, to see actual change, the company has to pay for the decisions it made. It's unfortunately the people who didn't make those decisions and who they want nothing to do with it, you know? You're listening to Sven's speech at the Game Awards, and it was so funny. The only part they got a cheer from the crowd was when he said to not treat employees poorly. No, honestly, John, I noticed the same thing. He says that, and then he follows it up with, basically giving gamers a good experience and treating them like people instead of like, credit cards or microtransaction like factories or whatever, I'm trying to say, right? Don't just try to like get as much money out of the gamers as possible. They didn't cheer as loud for that. They cheered for treat the developers like people. Okay, but then they don't care. Like with the whole treat the gamers like people too thing, they just didn't react as strongly, obviously. It just sucks. If a person is destructive element in a company, oh no, if you're a destructive force in your company, you need to be removed. Oh yeah, Susano, if we're talking about the people that were running with the story, that the specific young lady was of a certain, let's say, identity, and they didn't have any verifiable facts to back it up, yes, that sucked. I don't have a PlayStation account. Eventually I will whenever I finally get around to playing Ghost of Tsushima, because I'll have to do that for multiplayer. But right now I don't currently have one set up. Don't put politics in your games. Yeah, Blu-ray, exactly. He said stuff along those lines, make a good story, make a good game, treat the gamers well, all this stuff. And literally, yeah, nothing. Every single day your non-harmful comments are censored. Mari, it's just YouTube. It's just YouTube. I mean, hell, G just had one of his censored. Agreement is meaningless. Roofied EU LA as far as you can see. Yeah, G, I don't know if you realized it, but your comment didn't show up either. I'm legit watching my browser that's open with the YouTube chat and Streamlabs just to make sure I don't miss anything. It's freaking YouTube, man. And we're super like chill here. We don't have anything like crazy racist being said, nothing, you know, offensive. Everything is above board. There's no talk of like anything, you know, terrible going on in the world. Like, yeah, gee, I don't know. But I can see it on Streamlabs, but it's not showing up in my YouTube chat. They won't let you use your favorite F word? I would have no problem if you were to use it here, man. But unfortunately, I can't help you there. Your feed's full of people hyping the BG3 dude's comments. I mean, I thought that the comments were very good. I thought it was very sound. That being said, it's really funny because he didn't say anything that profound. That was the weirdest part. It was just very simple, common sense business practice, you know? They're trying to turn game development into socialism, yeah. But again, Chinatsky, you said that here, and it's not showing up on YouTube. Y'all, I don't even know what to do with this shit at this point. Censored how? Comments show up if you sort them by newest unless they disappear. I'm talking about the live chat, the live chat, Tekla. I mean, YouTube comments, a lot of people get deleted as well, but YouTube has trigger words, and some of them are the simplest of words or a pattern of words. They're AI censorship. It's nothing that I have set up through Streamlabs, guys. I've got very loose moderation when it comes to certain phrases and words on here. I don't have anything blacklisted on my channel. Oh God. This is why my wife tells me I'm on a list, NS. I showed her that meme that I made. And yeah, no, I got you, NS, I know. I showed her that meme I made, and she's like, oh my God, you're on a list. I'm like, I've already been on a list. I've been on a list for a long time now. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm on a list, okay? Say alphabetical. Permanent jobs for garbage devs forever. Oh, you think normies, for a lack of a better term, need to hear it? Yes, yes. Foolish people tend to overstate their opinions and beliefs to be more convincing, yeah. Bovine manure instead of other words. Well, it's not just swear words, though. That's the thing. It's the weirdest thing. A lot of these chats that aren't showing up on YouTube that I can see on Streamlabs, these are not even things that should be censored. Like, I've got a pretty good grasp of what should and shouldn't be, you know, considered offensive or whatever. And a lot of this is just really, like, again, if you want to say milquetoast or non-offensive, it's just nothing that bad. It's very strange. Anyways, we can go over the plot real quick, guys. It's a lot of words, and some of it doesn't matter, but here. We'll do a quick summary of the alleged plot leak. Let me make sure I refresh the camera so it doesn't shut off on me while I'm talking. So if I don't see the chat for a minute, guys, I apologize. I'm going to try to read through this really fast, okay? Yeah, you got to substitute things for certain words. Also, even Twitter, as amazing as it is, allegedly, since Elon bought it, the wrong thing will get you suspended for a day or whatever. It's the craziest thing, even if it's nothing that offensive. Plot's boring. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so Jordan was a member of the Five Aces band of criminals. The leader, Lewis, has disappeared. The reason for her shaved head, the absurd reaction to which Naughty Dog fully expected, is to serve the hiding of her identity as if she is a wanted criminal. Works as a bounty hunter. Kumail Nanjiani plays Colin, the comic relief of the crew. Tutorial and opening mission is on Simperia's moon. Okay. There's no space combat. They fly into the atmosphere. EMP disables the ship. The game's described as open world Uncharted mixed with sci-fi elements. I didn't play Uncharted, guys, so you'll have to tell me what you think about that. The majority of enemy combatants are AI-driven machines, but with a wide variety of types, melee and ranged, even vehicle combat. Base of operations in the game is your crashed ship, which I got no problems with. That's fine. As you find each member of your old crew, they'll join you on the ship. and in your search for Lewis. The plot is that Lewis sent a message to all the members of the Five, excluding Jordan, to meet him on the planet. So the girl got left out. They're told to come alone. Once 3 members of the crew join you, the game takes a hard turn. Underground dwelling race of aliens known as Simperians kidnap the teammates. The ship with all its decorations and customizations destroyed. Simperians resemble humans with some notable differences, including the ability to sprout large insect legs that allow them to scale walls, as well as night vision. That could actually be kind of cool. Has more of a survival horror shift. You eventually reach where they're held, where, as revealed, Lewis is preparing to execute them in front of a horde of angry Simperians. Jordan interrupts, begging to know why Lewis is doing this. Lewis explains the big twist of the game, that the Simperians were once humans who were teleported to the planet thousands of years ago as a side effect of the quantum experimentation needed to develop distant spacefaring technology. The quantum influence on their genetics rapidly advanced their stages of evolution to help them adapt to Simperia's harsh environment. When Lewis crashed on the planet, he found himself empathizing with their race, promising to help support their desire to return to Earth. Druckmann apparently had read Heart of Darkness, which inspired this plot point. The Simperian religion, founded by the heretic prophet, stated generations upon generations would suffer until a Messiah arrived to lead Simperians to their ancestral home, where they would reclaim the land and purge its inhabitants. The AI software and battle machinery on the planet was constructed over thousands of years to assist in invading Earth. However, the technology needed for a ship to pierce Simperia's atmosphere without being disabled by its unique qualities could not be figured out. Jordan's forced to watch as each of her companions are shot in the head by Lewis. She begs to know why he's doing it. He informs her she was never meant to be here. It's why he didn't call her. He was using his former partner's presence on the planet as a means to an end. We revealed that Lewis informed Galactipol that 4 of the 5 aces would be on Simperia, and a fleet of police ships outfitted with EMP countering tech arrive at the planet. That sounds fascinating. He has an affection for Jordan. He orders the Imperians to detain her. Jordan escapes. Final act has the player tear through a war zone between the two sides, ultimately resulting in Jordan chasing Lewis down and killing him. Lewis's dying words are to ask Jordan to continue his work, that the Imperians deserve to see their home again. Player has the choice to use the tank to destroy Imperian robots, leaving them defenseless, or to be slaughtered by Galactipol, or destroy the Galactipol's ships. After either choice is made, you find Lewis's old ship and fly into space, the ending depending on which choice you made. Yeah, that sounds like a $70 12-hour snooze fest, to be honest. Like, some cool ideas in there, but not exactly exciting, to be honest. Okay, let me catch up on what you guys are saying. Simperians is about Twitch users. Oh my god, that's the funniest comment I've seen about this. Let me see here. All right, so sounds like he's doing another ISPLI conflict metaphor. We have to babify everything we say or we get suppressed. Yeah, that really sucks. Let me see. Druckmann read a book that every high school in America is expected to read. Yeah, sounds like science fiction nonsense. Humans with noticeable differences. Ah, finally, proper trans representation. Oh my god, seriously, dude. It's a trans allegory. They can create AI weapons that will annihilate humanity, but they can't make an EMP to escape tree atmosphere because we need the plot to happen. Dude, that is a very good point. Like, all right, we've got the technology. We have this army assembled of robots and AI ready to wipe out anything that comes across, its path, right? But we can't figure out how to get through the staticky sky, that electromagnetic field in the sky. We can't figure out how to get through that. Like, wow, this is deep. Very, very deep. So, long and the short of it, this has been the leak that everyone was talking about today on YouTube. I didn't have a chance to cover anything really. I did one members only video, just kind of a recap of the year. That's currently uploaded for those of you guys who are members. But I don't know how true this is. I don't know how much of this is even going to pan out. But then honestly, it's funny because Jason Schreier was one of the supposed journalists that this was leaked to. If you go over to Blue Sky, which I would never recommend doing, I would never recommend it, but here we are. Somebody asks him, says, is it true that the plot and gameplay details revealed below was sent to a handful of gaming journalists, the most notable of whom includes Jason Schreier, and he simply responds with no. Gary says, already has 10,000 likes on Twitter. Insane how fast BS spreads. Thanks for clearing it up on here. And he says, one of the many reasons I'm no longer on Twitter. No, Jason Schreier's no longer on Twitter because he's a softie. Because he has absolutely no balls whatsoever. Shaved my head to go into hiding, what she thought was... Yeah, no, honestly, having a bald head makes you stand out more, doesn't it? I don't honestly understand. The idea is fun and all, but really is nonsense. We wouldn't survive it. You mean the plot line? Oh, our bodies wouldn't survive in space. Yeah. No, for real. So funny how this would be his grand masterpiece after years of him talking about how he's learned so much from Kojima, from soft storytelling. You know, FromSoft is a really funny one because I love and hate their storytelling all at the same time. The level of detail that they put into their games and a lot of the story that if you can actually follow along, the lore and stuff is fantastic. I have such a hard time like spending the time really getting into the lore because it's so, I don't want to say hidden, but it's definitely not, it's not easy to follow along with unless you actually are like fully dedicated to playing the game and reading every little thing you can about it. Facial recognition is the way people are identified. I know. That's honestly, it's such a stupid thing to say. Oh my God. Oh no, I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying, for me personally, I always, after playing a game, I have to go and study. Yes, Susano, exactly. I have to go and study after I played it to go, what were they talking about? Like, what did I miss? Where did this character fit in? And when you do, it's all very awesome. Like, it's very cool how it all fits together. I just don't honestly have the attention span to, in the moment, really grasp it, you know? But see, I don't mind Susano. I don't mind researching it after the fact. I don't mind like learning about it because it's really cool. Because the worlds that they create in their games are so good that you actually want to know more about it. So anyways, Jason Schreier says this is fake. That's the long and the short of it. Here's the funny one. Here is the funny one. Let me see here. We'll briefly talk about this for a second. I personally don't care. I don't care about this. I still haven't gone back and played the Mass Effect trilogy. I haven't played the Legendary Edition, even though I have it. This is weird too, because I thought this was talking about Mass Effect 4. Oh, are they considering this 5 because Andromeda is a thing? So is Mass Effect 4 actually Mass Effect 5? I'm so confused. Remember when Jason knew about female abuse at Activision and said nothing? Yeah. Yeah, and he's still, oh my God, dude, oh my God, hang on a second. If you go on Jason Schreier's timeline, this is the funniest thing. He's got it pinned right here. Did you know that I wrote a book chronicling the wild story of Blizzard Entertainment and it comes out in, wait a minute, it's already out and you can get it right now. Oh my God. Yeah, and then, so you've got him talking about CD Projekt Red right here, just 2 posts about it. Then 16 hours ago, here's another chance to get a signed copy of Play Nice. Just upload a receipt here showing that you bought it. We'll mail you a book plate. A few more posts. Game Awards. Here's another one. So all he's doing on Blue Sky, he's not even like really posting or interacting. All he's doing is shilling his book on Blue Sky. Okay, here's a bit bigger chunk of time where he's not talking about his book. Okay. Oh, he made a really nice looking pie. Look at that. That's not a bad looking turkey either. Jason, you're in the wrong business, dude. You should cook. Like, that's legit. That's like a 7 out of 10 as far as lattice goes, but lattice isn't easy. That's a good looking pie right there. The crust is really shit. As a baker, my outer crust is always really nice. But lattice isn't that easy, and that actually looks really good as far as the crust goes. All right, so yeah, that's basically what he's doing. Is just pushing his book over there. Oh, he's a vulture. He's scum. He is completely scum. Yeah, I don't know why they're calling it 5, because there's 1 through 3, and then there's Andromeda, which is the only one that I ever purchased, and then I was like, I'm not playing that. Uses intro to cut off Skillip and segue to shilling his new book on Blizzard, so shameless and classless. Yeah. If they do it to Mass Effect, I might end up on some watch list for Terra. Kotaku in Action is the only Reddit thread really worth paying attention to. Okay, so Andromeda was 4. All right, so I guess technically that's why The new one is 5. Yeah, his boyfriend probably did make it. Still, no shame there. The lattice work is probably 7 out of 10. You're on camera, just so you know. You're on camera. You don't want to be on camera? You gotta let me know. What? Here, I'll hide you. Give me a second. I'll just edit this. Hang on a second. No. All right, so how far back are you going? Are you like going on the back wall there? All right, I'll just hide my camera for a second. Hang on a second. You gotta tell me, woman. There you go. It's okay, you were in the background, you were blurry. It's a great subreddit for Gamergate, yeah. Well, honestly, the thing about Kotaku, though, is even without Alyssa Mercante, they are still going to be, like, basically the lol cows of the internet. The Verge is bad. Nobody really reads Rolling Stone where Alyssa Mercante went for gaming content anyways. So it doesn't really matter that much. But when it comes down to it, Kotaku is still going to continue to put out those, like, trash articles. Yeah, critical drinkers, exactly. Lock up your wife, lock up your daughters. Yep. All right, let's get up Jason Schreier's Blue Sky page here. There's no reason to be here. From YouTube. Exactly. So, anyways, long and the short of it, this is just another rumor. Again, I don't know how much this matters. And look, this is made by the same company that did Avowed, which we all know is going to be a dumpster fire. Actually, Smash has got an article he wrote about this, and we'll jump over to here real quick, where basically, oh yeah, Borderlands 4 is going to be a joke. But again, it's another game I don't care about, so I really just don't even care at this point. Apparently, over at Obsidian, they're just trying to figure out how to downplay this entire thing with their like completely demented art director. They're trying to, minimize the damage by just ignoring it. And so they just are trying to ignore it, which we've seen before. We've seen before a lot of these companies are like, okay, if we just don't talk about this guy being a complete loser, it'll all go under, it'll go away. It'll sweep itself under the rug, essentially, is what they think. TNT, yeah, oh, it's a great song. So, yeah, Obsidian is an insane company. They think that this somehow is going to go away on its own. And this, of course, is an email that the CEO sent out saying, many of you have probably seen the controversy online about Avowed over the last 4 or 5 days. I'm not going to speak directly to what's happening because the way we're going to deal with it, unless things change, is to let it blow over. I've always dealt with things like this by not giving them more airtime. To talk about how you all do engage online, if you've probably all noticed that our language at Obsidian is to walk a tightrope when it comes to how we ask you to think about your online presence. You've all heard me say that you're your own people, and of course we have every right to say what you want to say wherever you want to say it, something I staunchly believe in personally whether I like what you say or not. That freedom does come with challenges and responsibilities, particularly when you talk about things that are associated with our games or games in general. So basically, they're like, okay, we don't want you to talk about this, but by talking about it, that's going to be a bad thing for us, so let's just not talk about it, basically. Would assume it's just going to be handled internally, most likely. Yeah, what they did to Chris Avalon sucks. This also was what we were talking about earlier. You need to force the change. Yeah, honestly, that's the thing. And what happened with studios like over with the one that did Life is Strange, Deck 9 Games, and a whole bunch of these other studios that are, cutting staff and closing down studios and branches and stuff. Like I said, even though there's a lot of good people there, unfortunately, there's just not enough pushback from within. And unless they get pushback from within, how are any of us, other than not buying the games, going to affect change? The only way we can affect change is to not buy the product. Then when you don't buy the product, the company loses money. When they lose money, they cut their staff. It's just the way it goes. You can't believe Obsidian made the first South Park game? Dude, let me pull up a bookmark that I have. Hang on a second. I'm going to grab this again. What's Tucker doing now? Oh, he's on his freaking stomach. He's dragging himself along the couch. The cat is kind of an asshole sometimes. He's feisty because there's presents out here. That's 100% what it is. Hang on, guys. I'm looking for a bookmark real quick here. I have it saved. I don't think I deleted it. I don't know. Like I said, I went through and purged like 150 bookmarks an hour ago. It might be gone forever. Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh no, so it wasn't Obsidian, it was Naughty Dog. Okay. So, Learning the Law said, what you're witnessing with Naughty Dog in their new game is nothing more than collective self-pity for being ashamed of the games they made in the past. They hate them so much that they're willing to reshape the entire industry to wash away their sins. And legitimately, you can see that with like their old games with the way they are now. And it's not just Naughty Dog. It's other companies too. Companies that are simply no longer... they're basically ashamed of their past. Again, look at the Tomb Raider games, right? Where they're trying to make her like basically look like a man. Hid your face, scam lost viewers. Confirm people on YouTube are just here to watch your bald face. No, bald face would be what I had before. You mean bald head? You don't like my bald face. You told me never to shave the beard ever again, dude. If I ignore the serial killer in my house, maybe he won't kill me. Oh, dude, there are so many bad takes. Not just about like video games specifically, but in regards to that, there was one of those ones where there was this black guy freaking out on a train. And, you know, we just had the whole Daniel Penny situation where he luckily wasn't charged with murder, but he was very close to ending up like in jail for probably 10 years or so. And one of these guys that was kind of like a copycat of Jordan Neely, the guy that ended up getting killed, this dude's like freaking out on the bus or on the subway, punching at people, growling, snarling, being generally aggressive, right? And despite all this, you have people on Twitter going, man, if you all just ignore him, he'll go away. You know, you shouldn't have to like worry about him attacking you. Just ignore him and stuff. And it's like, why should you have to ignore a man who's 5 feet or less away from you, getting in your personal space, punching, threatening you, all that crap? Like, why should you as a private citizen have to ignore him and risk your own personal safety, you know? Yeah, I would assume with a name like Naughty Dog that you were all about pushing the line, right? You didn't want to like skirt away from things that were offensive. The obsession with maturing the industry is the biggest mistake it ever made. Well, Shinatsky, in some ways it's maturing, and in some ways it's almost like more of like it's more juvenile. We can't have subject matter because, you know, it might be offensive. Well, that sounds like you can't be mature about some things and realize it's just art, it's entertainment, it's just for fun. Yeah, I've got my camera back on, so if you need to go back over here, let me know. Are you gonna need to? No. No, you say no, but there's like a question mark there. All right, I'll be done soon. What are we doing with the elves tonight? Will that come off? Okay. Otherwise, we have permanent mustaches on our pictures. Oh, so NS, Daniel Penny without the mustache is a train wreck. I'm not a guy that's a fan of mustaches. Like, I would never shave the beard and just have a mustache. But Daniel Penny with a mustache is like Giga Chad without the mustache. Plus, he's been incarcerated or going through a court case, so he's obviously lost weight. Just not the same. The man needs to grow that mustache back like stat. Let me see. A lot of devs don't have time for this. They don't likely even now anyone's talking about it. Yeah. That's what I said. So the developer that I spoke with, he was like, yeah, the thing is, while some of the developers are clued in and some of them are like, this stuff sucks, it's going to ruin our company, a lot of the higher ups in the company just think, oh, this is all going to be good. This is great. This is no, you know, there's no problem with this, is what it boils down to, unfortunately. Arno Brecker. Arno Brecker. Who the hell's that? Is that some British guy? Arno Brecker. German sculptor. Born in 1900 in Elberfeld. Oh, I get it. I get it. No, I don't want to go to Amazon. I'm not buying that. Come on, man. Let me find a good image of the statue. Reddit, that works. I don't think I'm logged in on Reddit, so I can't dox myself. That's not even the statue. Screw it, I'll just drag this over here. Yeah, no, you're with this guy right here. That's totally Daniel Penny. That or this one here. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely correct. Hey, Vernum. Has it been 2 hours? That's what she said. You did want a PS2 as a kid after playing it at a friend's house. Finally got one at the age of 21. I think PS2 is the only PlayStation I ever played. Like, for real. My cousin had a PS2, and we played Spider-Man the night of his, like, bachelor party. But that was a long time ago. Getting rid of everyone who could say no to him. Now he's in the perfect position to tank the whole company and still get paid. Yeah, but he's also a true believer. He honestly believes the things that he wants in his games. You're talking about somebody who legitimately is like, this is his cause, to have these big masculine women. That's what Druckmann likes, you know? So, okay. Long story short, that's the situation at Obsidian. So now it kind of makes sense that you have Mass Effect 5 leaning into the same shit that we've seen that's possibly in Avowed. Another game, again, where you got BioWare over here with Mass Effect. You got Dragon Age that just came out, BioWare, Obsidian with Avowed. And it's like these companies aren't learning from each other. You've still got, like, the games haven't even been released yet. These are things that they could fix and not lean into. But they're still like, these directors of these games are just doubling down on all this crap that doesn't even make the game better. All it does is it causes a controversy. You have a large percentage of gamers who say, I want nothing to do with this. And then it's just like, okay, well, if this is all for, like, the attention, if this is like negative attention is still attention, that doesn't work when it comes to actual business, because negative attention will lead to less dollars. People don't rush out and buy a product that they hate because negative attention. They'll talk about it. But yeah, so Borderlands, I guess, is doing the same thing. They're going to cut back on toilet humor, says Gearbox. If the word skibbity ships in the game under my watch, I'm going to cry real tears. Well, the whole skibbity thing is just like a Gen Alpha thing or whatever. But I guess they're trying to make Borderlands also have less toilet humor. Again, you're trying to eliminate the things that made the game successful. Yeah, like I said, I never owned a PlayStation, but my cousin, he was a big PlayStation guy. So if I went to his house, I could play like Spider-Man or whatever. Like I said, now I have no hate for PlayStation. If my kids wanted a PlayStation for Christmas, I'd probably go buy one, but they don't even care because they have a Nintendo and Xbox and a computer that can play games on it. But yeah, I don't understand. So you got Gearbox over here trying to sanitize their game, right? Okay, Gen Alpha then. I don't know who finds the skibbity shit funny. Okay, I don't get it. I don't understand it. People that do this are doing it for social status, even if it costs them, much like a person getting a luxury car took to look upper class. Oh, dude, you're talking, that's 100%. That's a, sorry, Rabnad, that's a Gen Z thing. All the young 20-somethings who feel like they need to look like an Instagram model or whatever, so they'll buy like expensive clothing or expensive tennis shoes, even though they live 7 people in a house because none of them can afford to live on their own, but they want to look popular. They want to wear or dress like, you know, they're actually affluent. And it's like, guys, this doesn't mean a thing, you know? It's worse than going, it's going to be fine. People who push this are actually owned by ESG. Oh, 100%. It's a millennial thing, started in Russia. Oh. So the skibbity thing is a Russian millennial thing. Interesting. Yeah, luckily all my kids are Gen Alpha. They are actually on... there's going to be plenty of cringe. Like I've said, I honestly don't hate on Gen Z as much as I used to anymore, because once I started getting lumped into other dumb shit that millennials do, I'm like, wait a second, that's not all millennials. And then I started realizing, like, yeah, it's also not all Gen Zers, and it's not going to be all Gen Alpha either. It's just that as you get older, you have more of a condescending, judgmental perspective of the younger generations. And unfortunately, it just happens naturally. That whole crotchety old man thing, you have to be careful because that sneaks up on you really fast. Like really, really, really fast, you know? They give you the loan and all the money you spend for consultation comes back directly to the person who gave you the loan in the first place. Yeah. Blame it on Little Big for coming to the US. Dude, I don't even know where to put the blame, to be honest. So we are going to wrap up with covering Smash JT real quick. And I want to... before we jump to his story, let me see if I can find his GoFundMe, because I'm curious. I looked at it earlier today. I'm not sure right now what it's up to. So for anybody who was out of the loop, the whole situation with Smash JT and Alyssa Mercante, She is suing him for defamation, harassment, blah, blah, blah. Her feeling threatened, her feeling, you know, like her life is in danger, or whatever the victim crap she's trying to pull, right? He started a GoFundMe because she's suing him, and he had to give a $25,000 retainer to Ron Coleman to defend him. Currently up to, let's see here. It's not $6,400. Is this an old one? This is the old one. Okay, let me see if I can find the new one. I don't know why I brought up the old one first. Oh, that's right, because his first one was GoFundMe. That was for his response for, because she sent him a cease and desist, and he sent it back to her. Basically, Ron Coleman told her to shove it up her ass. Here we go. Here's the current one. This one is up to $53,835. More than double the retainer that he had to give to Ron Coleman. And the best part now, the absolute best part. You don't have a read on Smash? That's okay. Like I said before, the one thing I'll say about this entire situation, whether you love Smash's content, whether you don't, whether you think he's disingenuous or you think he's the best guy on the planet, personally, I'm not here to tell you how to feel about him. What I find awesome is the fact that she went after this guy as like, okay, all these YouTubers have criticized me. This is the one that I think I can get my cash cow, you know, make my money out of. And she is going to get destroyed. If she tries to take this beyond, I think personally the judge will throw it out, especially after the shit she's been doing now. But if she tries to go any further with this, she'll get destroyed in court. Covering their tracks, yeah. So harassment did not exist when you were young. Well, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have changed. I was just lamenting on Twitter, and this is not a bad thing because I don't smoke and I don't want to be around cigarette smoke, right? Especially while I'm eating. But I'm like, the Gen Z mind cannot comprehend that when you walked into a restaurant back when I was a kid, the first thing the hostess would ask you is smoking or non-smoking. Like, this was legitimately the first thing out of their mouth was, oh, smoking or non-smoking. And if you couldn't sit in the non-smoking section because everybody chose to sit in non-smoking, you had to decide, I'll wait for a table in non-smoking or I'll just go sit in the smoking section and risk, you know, getting covered in cigarette smoke. It was the funniest thing. It's like that was just normal back then. And then my state was actually one of the first ones to ban smoking indoors. The whole circle was doing, yeah, no, that's the thing. And so basically the long and the short of it is she started deleting a lot of tweets. And this is all the tweets that he responded to, that he covered in the videos, that a lot of us covered in videos, things that she admitted to herself, talking about being a sex worker and everything else, things that she legitimately admitted to, right? Then we started noticing, Hypnotic pointed out on his live stream, that there's been a lot of tweets deleted. I think Alyssa has deleted somewhere in the ballpark of, what is it, 400 tweets? Let me see here. I don't want to throw a number out there that doesn't hold up. Let me a second. Hang on. Let me see if he's got the number on here. It's a lot. It's in the hundreds, I can tell you that. And it's not just her. Kim Belair, Black Girl Gamers, all these people, Ash Parrish over at The Verge, are all deleting tweets from their accounts. The funniest thing, even people like Khalif Adams, the dude is a complete, like, corporate shill. The man loves anything woke. He loves anything that's got a AAA name attached to it and anything that he can get something free out of them, right? Khalif Adams is one of these content creator guys. All he does is sit around, praise corporation, and get free shit. He has a controller collection, okay, of like scuff gaming controllers and exclusive Xbox controllers for games and this and that. I actually tried searching not too long ago on his Twitter account because I was going to make a point out of it. I couldn't find him mentioning scuff gaming anywhere on his Twitter account, despite the fact that I had seen the tweets with my own eyes with him thanking Scuff Gaming for sending him these $150 controllers. So I think he went back and deleted these tweets as well. A lot of these people who have been called out on their BS are starting to basically hide. They're trying to hide a lot of the things that they have said and done. Oh, so it was Black Girl Gamers that in the last 30 days has deleted 420 tweets. That's who it was. Okay. Black Girl Gamers, who ironically has been striking YouTubers. Hypnotic and Valiant Renegade both had old, like 8-month-old videos that got struck by Black Girl Gamers. Yeah, Khalif is an interesting man. He is completely not self-aware. Like, not even close. Oh my god. Things that will give blowback in case as well given her claims. Why would that matter if correct? Yeah. The craziest thing too is when you get to where Ron Coleman actually says about it that with the state of social media evidence today, all of the aforementioned cases involved social media evidence that played or could have played a key role in the case, talking about, again, examples of case law, were it not for the fact that the evidence was either intentionally deleted, not preserved in a proper or timely manner, or both. In most, there were significant penalties applied as a result of the failure to preserve. The law is clear that attorneys bringing or defending claims in litigation must appropriately supervise the preservation of evidence. Exposure to sanctions or tort claims for the loss of relevant data, documents, or physical evidence can be substantial. Okay? In Joseph Bruno versus Peak Resorts, plaintiff Bruno initiated a personal injury action following an injury he sustained while skiing at a ski resort owned and operated by the defendants. Following the accident, Bruno posted a comment on a blog about the ski trail conditions at the time of his accident, but subsequently deleted the comment prior to commencing suit, but after retaining counsel. So the guy basically said something that he's like, oh, if I'm going to sue these people, this sounds too positive, I'll delete it. Bruno did not disclose evidence of the post during the course of documentary discovery, and at the time of his deposition denied making or deleting such online posts. The defendants discovered Bruno's falsehood and moved for dismissal for spoliation of evidence pursuant to CPLR 3126. The trial court granted the defendant's request for relief, finding that Bruno had failed to provide accurate representations of his online posts. Rather than the requested dismissal, the court imposed an adverse inference charge against Bruno at trial, only to be avoided if he provided the deleted comment. He appealed the decision, arguing that he did not intend to withhold or destroy evidence and that he had disclosed other social media posts. Thus, the court abused its discretion in imposing such a sanction. On appeal, the Third Department affirmed that sanctions were warranted because plaintiff Bruno had an obligation to preserve the now deleted blog comments. The negligent deletion was done with a culpable state of mind, and the comment was relevant to the defendant's defenses. So, all that legal jargon to be said, the tweets that Alyssa has tweeted out, where Smash JT and everyone else has come out and said she was a sex worker, she was a hooker, she said she gave blowjobs or sex to get into the video game media industry, everything else, whether she was being hyperbolic or joking about it, tongue in cheek, no pun intended there, doesn't matter. Because you can take whatever inference you want from that, because the fact that she has now gone and deleted those tweets that are the crux of a lot of Smash JT's coverage of her, that tells me that this is going to get thrown out. There's no way that this holds up at all. And it shows that she is being malicious on her side of things by trying to bury the evidence. These kinds of people generally aren't lawyers, nor are they often very bright. Basically, in context, she committed crimes. Yeah, that's what it looks like. The first times you lit up a cig, there was no non-smoking sections. Okay, so that was way back when. Yeah, Avernum, this doesn't look good for her personally. Like, I think if we're going to be charitable about it, I think it'll be dismissed. Best case scenario, I think there's going to be monetary fines or some sort of penalty for what she's done. Not only will, I think, a judge throw it out, I think that there will be substantial penalties. Maybe he can get Alyssa to have to pay his retainer for Ron Coleman. Well, I mean, the thing is, unless he countersues her, there won't be a conviction because it's more a matter of he's the defendant, not her. Now, if he decides to countersue her and pursue her for damages or defamation or whatever he wants to, again, defamation is really hard to prove. I would not suggest anybody, unless you have like an ironclad case, try to pull that shit. But honestly, I think he could at least get the judge to impose like having her pay him back for lawyer costs. Like, even though I get it, he did a give, send, go, and he didn't have to pay anything out of pocket, it would still be really funny to get a judgment against her that for bringing this, wasting everybody's time, putting this man through all this stress, all this, financial hardship, everything else, knowing that you were only going to try to delete the posts that prove that he didn't do anything wrong, I would be like over the moon if they could get her to have to pay his legal fees. I think that would be a fantastic wrap up to the entire saga. So as it stands right now, I don't know where litigation is standing. We're all going to be like waiting to see how far this goes. Don't even know how often it gets charges. Yeah. Could you make a case that Alyssa didn't destroy the evidence as the raw data belongs in it too and is still preserved by Twitter? Hey, Kira. Yes. However, I think that wouldn't matter because the intent was there. If her intent was to destroy the evidence, I mean, intent is a very real thing when it comes to, you know, legal adjudication and all that. So I imagine just the attempt at destroying it. No, I appreciate you playing devil's advocate. I think we need to ask every question we can. I would imagine that there's got to be some sort of legal statute that says even that'd be like if you murder somebody or if you find a dead body and you try to dispose of it and you don't do an efficient job at disposing of it, right? You'd be arguing she was trying to sway public opinion against Smash. Yeah, 100%. And there's other stuff too, like Grums points out that all three of her lawyers are left-wing activists, who we've talked about that on the last week's live stream. One of them tweeted about me and had actual defamation in those tweets. Again, he didn't prove it in a court of law, so defamation has to be, you know, proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. He's saying she defamed me, but again, that's whatever. I believe they gave her bad advice and convinced her she could win. Now she's in over her head and deleting tweets, which if her attorneys actually cared about her in her case, would have advised her against it. She's being taken for a ride in her zeal to quote-unquote get smashed. And I think that's very true. Let me see here. Not way back far. Oh, but I'm not in Poland. Wait, technically, are you from Poland? I can't remember. Yeah, just because she failed doesn't mean she didn't try to destroy. And that's more what my thought process is. It's, again, you try to murder somebody and you don't succeed, you still get charged for attempted murder. Intent is a very real thing when it comes to, like I said, you know, legal statutes and all that kind of stuff. So I imagine an unsuccessful attempt to suppress or remove evidence from a case where her entire case boils down to this man has said evil things about me that were lies, that put me in harm's way, that defamed me and all this stuff. And if it's as simple as, hey, well, Your Honor, I was just making videos based on the tweets that she tweeted. Well, where's the tweets? Oh, she deleted them. I mean, it's a pretty open and closed situation, I would imagine. So, like I said, it'll be fun to watch. I'm very curious how it all shakes out. That being said, guys, I am probably going to wrap up right here because I need to get some sleep. The wife needs me to go. I put the elves in her computer case, the elf on the shelf little guys, which I was kind of freaked out this morning. I'm like, please don't touch a fan, you know? But yeah. Tampering with evidence is not it. Yeah, that certainly sounds like it to me, Avernum. Well, not just screenshots, Tekla. We have archives. There are people who have the tweets archived. So, for example, you see this tweet from Hypnotic here, where she said, "I'm just going to go back to sex work because at least then I get effed a lot and I get paid for it." They have archive links. Yeah, screenshots are one thing, but there's also archive links for all this stuff. This could affect, well, Kira, I would say no. It affects people who decide to go after somebody in a court of law using those tweets as a, well, Alyssa didn't use the tweets as evidence. The defense would use those tweets as evidence. If she then intentionally, after filing a suit, deleted the tweets, that would it would only take precedent given the fact that she had already filed a lawsuit. So again, if this guy, the one that we saw in the example that they gave, if the guy decided, I went, you know, actually that's a perfect example because that's exactly how it happened. He went to a resort, he put a blog post out there giving it, I assume, a positive review. He then filed a lawsuit. He filed the lawsuit, but then deleted the post after the fact. If he had deleted the post first and said, I changed my mind, I was too positive about this, now I'm going to sue them, I think it would have been a different story. But part of why he got in trouble was because he deleted the blog post, after he filed the suit. So that looks like an attempt, again, to suppress evidence that the defense could use in their defense. So, yeah, and Twitter, besides, like we said, Twitter doesn't disappear when you delete it from Twitter. They still have like an archive of all these tweets on Twitter itself. You could get Twitter to show anything from probably like the last 6 months or a year, I imagine. I don't know how much they store on their servers, but I imagine deleted tweets are still pretty easy to recover. But again, it's all about the timing. If you change your mind about something, you delete a tweet, you go, oh, that was a little spicy, I'm going to get rid of that now, right? Okay, fine. You then can move on with your life, and if you decide to sue somebody over something, cool, whatever. It's the fact of the order in which they happened is what looks really bad. So, again, I appreciate people being, you know, like trying to present the alternative, because we do have to look at these things from both situations, both perspectives, to try to determine whether or not this is something that's going to hold up. I think this plays in Smash's favor very, very well. I think this is going to bode very well for him, especially given how insane she is online, and it's well documented what a complete nut job she is. I mean, that TikTok video we looked at last week, that's not a woman who's suffering harassment, fearing for her life, suffering abuse at the hands of some, you know, a mob of people online. This is a woman trying to goad people into a reaction, you know? Oh no, Susano, it doesn't. But the way I look at it, I was talking to my wife about this, it does matter for me. Because as a YouTuber, as somebody who could get sued by one of these insane people one day for absolutely nothing, I have to be hoping for a positive outcome for this case, because she's trying to set legal precedent. The entire situation here with people within Gamergate and people covering a lot of this stuff with the media, with developers, with all the DEI initiatives, if they win, any of us who speak out, it becomes a very touch and go situation. So that's why I'm definitely invested in him winning this thing. The average person, yeah, I get that it doesn't affect everybody. But anything where your ability to speak freely is affected, I think affects all of us. So, yeah. That's kind of my 2 cents on that, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. I need to get some sleep. And my poor wife is waiting for me to pull those elves out of her computer case. And I know she's not going to start digging into it. So I'm going to wrap it up, leave it there, right there, guys. Thanks again to everybody for hanging. I know that there's a lot going on tonight. So tonight was kind of a smaller stream than usual. Normally we have a few more viewers in here, but that's okay. I appreciate all of you guys that were here. Appreciate you, NS, for dropping the 5 gifted memberships, dude. You're awesome. And for everybody else, it's been a fun year. We're almost wrapped up. We got a few more weeks to go. I am just over the moon that I have you guys to hang out with. And I will try to get some videos out within the next couple days, get back to a semi-regular schedule. Elves in the PC case. It was her idea. She wanted the elf on the shelf little, I've got 2 of them, to go in the PC case, and she's got that drop pod case, you know, like it's got the glass panels on the front that pop out. It's a really cool case. I'm very jealous of her computer. So yeah, I have to go fish them out for her. All right, Susano, great conversation as always. Same with you, Avernum, Tekla, NS. Kira, thanks for dropping in, as well as Mari. I don't know if you're still here or not, but if you are not still here, hopefully you're who's here. We had a lot of people here. Oh yeah, G, John CRA, as well as I think I got just about everybody. If I left you off, I do apologize, but I am going to hit the hay.